Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. We'll be getting started here in the next 3 to 5 minutes or so. We still have a large portion of the attendee list that hasn't joined yet, so we want to give everyone time to join. In the meantime, just sit back, relax, refill your coffee, and we'll get started soon. Ben, can you just confirm that my screen is still showing from your side?
All looks good.
Okay, great. During the demo portion of the call here at the beginning, we're going to leave everyone on mute, but you can enter your questions into the questions section of the event. Is that enabled, Colleen? I was looking for it here on my side. Is the Q&A portion added? You can also paste them in the chat as well, and we will, if they're not covered in the demonstration, we'll be sure to go through those during the Q&A portion, which will be the second half of the call here.
Yes, questions are enabled.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't seeing them in my view, but that's okay. Okay, just a couple more moments here. And we will be recording this meeting as well, so that we can distribute this at the end for anyone who gets here late or wasn't able to attend. From your respective teams, you can share this with them. Once it's finished rendering and uploaded, we'll be able to share that link with everybody. Give another minute or so. I think we're up to 17 or so of the expected, I think 35 or 40 people. So give a moment here. All right, let's get started. First off, thanks everyone for joining us today. The purpose of this webinar event is to highlight the partnership of RepSpark Microsites with the Golf Genius Tournament Manager. Most of you know me, I'm Bobby Morgan with the professional services team here at RepSpark. I work closely with our brands on the integration side, as well as our other tools such as Microsite. So good to see a lot of you on the call, some familiar email addresses in the list here. Ben Wolfe is here from the Golf Genius team, and he's going to demonstrate the integration. I'll talk about the integration, but he'll show all the features that come from that integration. At a high level, the value add here is that we've integrated with Golf Genius Tournament Manager. And I won't steal too much of your thunder, Ben. I promise I'll give a high level here. As we know, as all of your golf shops know, managing a golf tournament and getting people to register and claim their tee prizes and all that can be a tedious process. Not everyone is diligent about signing up on time and requesting their tee prize on time and all those things. So the Golf Genius Tournament Manager really facilitates communication, validation, and everything of your registered attendees. And I'll let Ben demonstrate that here in just a moment. But this isn't a call to necessarily demonstrate all the specific features of the microsites. Again, as I noted here, most of you are already using microsites. You know how to set them up, so I'm not going to spend time on all of that, but I will show the specific areas where the Golf Genius integration is set up and where it is validated within RepSpark. So I'll start real quick, and then I'll throw it over to you, Ben. So first things first, we do have everyone on mute right now, so please just post your questions in the chat, and we will open up to a Q&A once Ben and I are done with our presentation parts here. So this is a demonstration microsite. Forgive some of the disjointed logos and products here. We use this just for demo purposes, but this is a format that you're all familiar with. It's a microsite for a specific golf event where you have golfers register and then they come here to the microsite once they're registered. The link is shared currently by the club pro or someone else who's sending this out to the registrants as they sign up. It's a very manual process right now for that communication. But once they get the link, they can come and they can choose from 1, 2, 3 packages, whatever is set up for that event. Typically for a golf event, it's a close-ended package, meaning they get the option between one of the 2 or 3 packages, and within that package, they get a limit on the number of items that they can choose, whether it's 2 shirts or 1 shirt and 1 piece of outerwear. Once they go in and select their package, you could see, oops, I think I picked the wrong one here. You can see here that this package, for example, they get 1 polo and 1 mid-layer. So we enforce this through the checkout process. So if I try to order 2 of something, it will let me know that I can't have 2 mid-layers, I can only have 1, for example. The way that the Golf Genius piece integrates with this is that it allows validation of who the user is. So we will validate on the email address here. I've added a little note here just to sort of reinforce that concept where, you please be sure to use the same email address you used to register for this event when also placing the order through the RepSpark microsite. So the idea being, if I try to check out, let me actually satisfy the other requirements first. Okay, so I have 1 polo and 1 mid-layer. If I go to check out with a email address that's not registered for the event, then I'm going to get a message here that is being returned from the Golf Genius API that says, we are unable to verify your information for this event. Please check that your name and email are correct. If you recently registered, please allow up to 1 hour before attempting to place your order. So this is the validation component that you're seeing here on the site. In the admin panel of RepSpark, there are 2 places, I'm sorry, in the event admin, there are 2 places where this is added. In the admin, under the configuration site, there's a main API key that you get from Golf Genius. This is what connects your brand to the Golf Genius tool. The other part of it is the actual specific event ID. This is the event ID that manages the list of registered users that is validated against in the step that I just showed a moment ago. So at a high level, that's the part that RepSpark has integrated with, the validation management. So instead of having this open-ended list and hopefully the right people are signing up for your site, or the other method of having to preload your entire list in the users section of RepSpark, you don't have to do that if you're integrated with Golf Genius. So I'm going to toss it over to you, Ben, now to really kind of carry that example forward and show all the really cool features that Golf Genius has.
Yeah, thanks, Bobby. Real quick on the API key setup, that I just want to make a note. That's only the first time you integrate with this club. That API key is specific to the facility that you're integrating with. And so we only need to do that the first time. Every event after that, you simply just need that event ID. And we'll show you how we get that. All right, if you could make me presenter, I'll share my screen. There we go. All right, you able to see that?
There it goes. Yep.
Okay. All right. So this is, for those of you who may not be familiar with Golf Genius Tournament Management, tournament management is our core product. It's what started Golf Genius, and we've been doing it for, I guess, 14 years now, working in the tournament management space. And part of an event that you create in Golf Genius is a website that goes along with that event. And so this is a website. I've created an event called the RepSpark Invitational. I've set up this website, and I've set up so that we can do player registration. So I'm going to start here and show you the player experience so that you can get a feel for that. And then we can talk a little more about how that's all set up. So on the player side, they can register for this event. And I'll go ahead and just do that now. and they will input the information that's required. You can capture really any information that the host club needs. Go ahead and register my dad here as my guest. All right. And once we're registered, a couple things happen. We're now in that event roster. And you can see we've been registered. I also receive a email that's a confirmation. And what I've been able to do here is customize this email to include the microsite link. So something that's really powerful about the Golf Genius Tournament Management tool is the player communication. And now that we're in this roster, we receive this email. The manager can then send out additional emails and reminders, and the player can simply click on the link. Something else that we can do is send out a text message again with that link. I've turned it into a tiny URL so it's shorter, but any of these methods allow us to click on that and take us into the microsite. So then I can go ahead and proceed with placing my orders. And wrong one. I think it's this one. There we go. So I've picked my items. I'm just going to input my information. And place my order. So that order went through successfully. I got the email confirmation sent to my email address, and I'm good to go for that event. So that's the player experience, and what we tried to do is what Bobby showed you is the integration itself is pretty simple. We need that API key and we need the event ID. But what we do on the Golf Genius tournament management side is we provide some best practices. And so when we are working with a club who's setting this up, we make sure they understand that it's a best practice to put the microsite link in the registration area. It's a best practice to put it in the confirmation email, to text it out. But this allows the club to very easily communicate with the players about, hey, deadline's coming up to place your orders in the microsite. If you haven't done that yet, click here. So very easy to work through how all this works. Now, I did just want to take a moment and come back to what we call the manager side of Golf Genius Tournament Management. And it will likely be very unfamiliar to everyone here, but on the management side, this is what the club uses every day. And I just wanted to show you in the URL, this is where the manager very easily finds the event ID. And so it's anywhere from it's 6 digits to 22 digits, somewhere in that area. And that's what they send to be input on the RepSpark side. The API key, the very first time an integration's done, the API key is actually generated by our team and sent directly to the vendor to send to you. So the club requests that API key on your behalf, and we will communicate then to the contact that the club has given us. I think, Bobby, that covers everything. Is there anything I missed?
Anything related to maybe roster changes or things like that?
Yep, absolutely. So I'll just come back here and we can see that Ben Wolfe registered into the roster. And so now he sits here and with this email address. If I go back to, I'm sorry to be switching browsers, but I'm logged in different ways in different places. So now that I've registered, if for some reason I need to come back and edit that registration, I can edit it. And I've used my login that I created when I registered. And I can either edit my player information or I can cancel this. If I cancel the entire registration, that player is completely removed from the roster. So if I just give this a refresh, we'll see that Ben Wolfe goes away. So Ben Wolfe is now not registered anymore. And that means the next time the RepSpark site syncs up with this roster, Ben Wolfe will not be part of it, and he will not be able to place an order through that validation method.
And one of the additional features that I believe is in the pipeline for development would be the notification when this cancellation happens. If that person had already placed an order, obviously we want to reconcile and not ship that person's order as part of the overall bulk order that you're sending to the event. So that is something that's on the roadmap as well. But for now, we're doing the validation component and then leveraging the Golf Genius management console for the communication, and as Ben mentioned, best practices, all of those things that will really help you minimize friction in registration, picking your T gift or T gifts, and then ultimately just maintaining that communication for the people who are taking a while to register or actually go to the microsite. So I think are there any automated reminders that you can set, Ben?
So today we do not. I know that's one of the items in the roadmap is a communication back from RepSpark to tournament management saying who has placed and who has not placed orders. At which point, yes, we would be able to do additional communication, but that is not in the system as of yet.
Great. So Colleen, can you put me back as the presenter, please? I'm going to just go through a couple, maybe a little 3 to 5 minute overview of the new microsite version here, just because this is a great forum to show this to everybody. I know some of the users on this call here have started to look at microsite version 2, but are probably still using version 1 because of the familiarity with it. Is everyone seeing my screen again, just to clarify? Okay, so this is the version 1 of the microsite. This is what everyone is used to. It's very much it's a 2-page microsite, very simple. You have your homepage, you select your packages, you go through the checkout process, which is just a single form. So again, in this case, I'm going to choose one item here. I'm going to choose my outerwear. Oops. Everyone knows, or most people know, that we have the ability to integrate with the logos, so you can choose the specific logo that has been selected for the event. Some events we enforce the logo, so if you're buying a piece of outerwear or a shirt that comes pre-logoed, it'll automatically enforce that. Some people might want the blank version of the shirt versus the embroidered shirt. When I place the checkout order here, this is the process. It's choose your package, choose your items, click submit order. What we've built in the version 2 of the microsite, which I'm going to flip over and show to you now, this link is available in the admin panel for everyone as well. It says new next to it. It's the same information being pulled from the same admin panel. A lot of it is just remapping data to a different visual layout, but we've also added a more B2C shopping experience, and you'll notice that when I go into the site here. So homepage wise, comparatively, it's about the same. Let me go back to the homepage here. But what you can see, it's a lot cleaner. You know, we don't have this text overlaying the logo anymore. It is, let me go here. It is now over here in this little sidebar. So the image is unencumbered by text written over it. We still have the same packages. We now have an order now button, which makes it a little cleaner compared to how it was. But once you go into these packages, what you'll notice is, again, this is more of a shopping experience, and you can jump between different categories and filters and things like that. You can switch between packages up here at the top. When you click on the product itself, a little sidebar flies out this way. You can see the alternate images. You can hover. You can choose your different colorways here. If certain sizes are not available for certain products, it will gray them out just like it does in the other version. Here you do have to select your size, and then you can select your quantities here and add to cart. And now we have this little cart pop-up concept, continue shopping, or we can view our cart and then ultimately proceed to the checkout page. One of the drawbacks of the current version, or I'll call it the old version at this point, version 1, is that if you made a mistake on your order, you ordered a large instead of a medium, there was no recourse. You had to call the Club Pro or your representative to get that fixed. Here we have a review page, we have a summary page. So if I realize that I ordered the wrong size here, then I can edit the quantity directly here. It'll just fly out that same thing. So I can go from small, to medium, and I can update the size there as well. And then when I proceed to the checkout, again, I have my this looks much more like a Shopify checkout experience. Similarly to the previous or to the other version, the validation from Golf Genius happens here on this email address. If the email is not valid, then you'll be rejected or not be able to advance from this page. When I move forward to checkout, again, we'll have a shipping method in here. In this example, everything is going to be shipped to the event location itself. But if you're doing a microsite that isn't necessarily a golf event, it could be a pop-up shop, could be a corporate gifting shop, this might be a drop ship form here. So the form would actually pop up to put in the shipping address. Because this demo event is not featuring a shipping requirement or drop ship option, it's just straight through, continue to the checkout, and then very last step here, place your order. Oh, something went wrong. So it would have the checkout email the very same as what had happened in, or what happens in the current version. So the only difference here is that you're checking out through a couple more steps, and then you can always go back into your cart to add, remove, or modify products. So we're really proud of this development for this microsite. The old version has been that way for several years. It was due for a facelift, due for some additional functionality. Many of these functionalities requested by the people on this call, and from your users as well. So that feedback is always valuable. We're always looking to improve. And then, of course, partnerships with companies like Golf Genius further strengthen the value of the RepSpark microsites. So I'm going to pause here and sort of conclude the presentation. Ben, I don't know if you have anything else you want to add before we open it up for Q&A. Yeah, thanks for letting Ben and myself go through the demonstration of the integration here, and we look forward to your discussion and questions. I'll just keep sharing my screen here in case there's something relevant, and then if we need to answer stuff on the Golf Genius side, then Ben will put you over as the presenter for those.
Sounds good.
Colleen, are there some questions from the group that we want to go through first for either for the Golf Genius side or the RepSpark side? Otherwise, we can just open it up and let the attendees fire away.
Yep. Lisa has some questions for you, Bobby.
Hi, Lisa.
Here, I can unmute her, but she wants to know, do the clubs all ship to the club for event, or do some of the clubs opt to drop ship to the players?
So it can be both, and this is configured on an event by event basis. I got to get out of the terminology of calling them events. The microsite by microsite event, we do offer an option to dropship, where dropship is optional, dropship is required, or there is no dropship available at all. We also have the ability to bulk an entire order together. So you may get 10 individual golfers that submit an order, but when that order gets converted to a RepSpark order that goes into your ERP system, it comes through as one order with all those quantities and styles and colors aggregated onto one single order. Dropship orders are always one-to-one, given the nature of the shipping address being different for each one. But the bulk order concept is when we know everything is going to be shipped to the golf course, whether that goes in a couple of boxes and then someone there is responsible for assembling the orders. And we have a feature in RepSpark that gives you a breakdown of what every person ordered, so you can easily put those packages together. And I know some brands may pre-package their tee gifts and send them already assembled, but yeah, I think that answers the question. Dropship is available as an option, as a requirement, or as not part of it, but it's an event by event option.
Awesome. Lisa had another question too of, do the vendors get to legally keep the email addresses of the players who order their product?
That's a good question. We have had other brands add an opt-in thing that goes on the checkout page. I think we ultimately ended up turning that off just because of some of the friction that people have. People don't always want their email in different places, but the legal side of it, if you added that checkbox and people opted in, then that would, I believe, indemnify you in that case. But I would certainly consult your lawyer and not me for that question. But we can
Okay,
gather it. We can gather it, and you will have access to it. Just whether you can legally remarket to that is again not something that I can guarantee.
and Brittany wants to know, do we have specific image dimensions for the landing page imagery? She noticed it's a little different from the original.
Yes. So the new microsite layout, it is more responsive, whereas the original one was less responsive. Let's just put it that way. These containers will fit the image. In the admin panel, I'm sorry, in the event admin rather, under the, where am I? Under the assets section, it does give you the ratio of each image, telling you what it should be. And then for the homepage banner specifically, we have 1920 by 600. So it's a nice thin banner image, but everything else is pretty much a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-2 kind of ratio. But it does scale responsively. It does look good on mobile as well, especially the newest version.
Awesome. And Dylan wants to know, will there be an option for people to pay via credit card with the new version?
Great question, Dylan. The answer is yes, and that's on our excuse me, on our roadmap for sometime in Q2. It's being developed now, but it is not quite yet available. We still have to go through testing and various things, but that's the reason we built the cart layout, to ultimately facilitate the option of paying directly through the microsite at the time of sale. So it will still, it'll have a very much a more B2C like experience. And these are probably more for corporate gifting sites or pop-up shops and things like that. A golf tournament is obviously prepaid, right? Your registration includes this T prize, so there's no need for the payment option. So in the microsite admin settings, just like whether you choose to have it allow drop ship or not, you'll choose to allow it to or require it to have a payment checkout component.
Awesome. Thanks, Bobby. Does anyone else have more questions? You're welcome to raise your hand if it's a little bit longer and you don't want to type it out. Or you can always email success@repspark.com if it's a little bit more of a tedious or personal question regarding the microsites.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a half an hour left on this call, so I'm happy to open it up for discussion, whether it's a question for the RepSpark side or Golf Genius. Yeah, fire away. Open the communication floodgates. Let's see who has questions. Anyone?
And Bobby, do you want to talk to a little bit more about the new microsites tab in community?
Oh, thank you. I totally forgot about that. You're right, Colleen. So, as part of our new microsite rollout, we have also highlighted it within the community itself. So if I go to the RepSpark community here, let me go back here. Sorry, give me a second. There we go. So if I go to the brands page here, we've added a new tab at the top to where you can search for those RepSpark brands which currently have microsites active as a value add service. You can filter by that. Before using the filter, there's a little icon here for each brand that shows who is using microsites. For example, Holderness and Bourne, or Straight Down, or Summit Golf Brands, Johnny-O, several others. So, this is obviously something that is appealing as a retailer, knowing that they also support microsites and golf tournaments. So if I go here and I click this, then this is the full list of people on RepSpark who are using microsites currently. And those of you who are not, if you do elect to sign up to use microsites, then you would be part of this list as well. Yeah, so this is the brands which have enabled microsites. Anything else to add on that front, Colleen? I want to make sure I didn't skip out on
No,
anything.
that's great. Looks like we haven't had any other questions, so I think we will go ahead and conclude unless anything else pops up. But thank you everyone for your time today. And again, please let us know if you have any questions for Golf Genius or for RepSpark. We will be more than happy to answer them for you.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks.